In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Sunshine Law, copies of the public meeting notice were sent to the Courier News, the News Tribune, the Star Ledger, the Franklin Reporter, Tappan of Franklin Township Clerk Manager, district schools, offices, and associations, PTO presidents, and posted on the district website.
Thank you. I speak loudly. The Board of Education of the Franklin Township School District in the County of Somerset adjourned into a closed session meeting to discuss the items which fall within an exception of our open meeting policy and permits the board to have a private discussion since it deals with specific exceptions contained in NJAA 10-4-12B. Matters rendered confidential by federal law, state law, or court rule. Individual privacy, collective bargaining agreements, purchase of lease of real property if public interest could be adversely affected, invested of public funds if public interest could be adversely affected, tactics or techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property, pending or anticipating litigations, attorney-client privileges, and personnel employment matters affecting a specific prospective or current employee. Be it that the board would now go into private session to discuss matters rendered confidential by individual privacy and attorney-client privileges, including personal matters. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential would be made public as soon as practical. Minutes of the private session would not be disclosed until the need of confidentiality no longer exists. All appropriate persons who may be discussed in the private session have been adequately notified. We anticipate the action to be followed by an executive session. We are now going to closed session. Do I have a motion to go into?
So moved.
So moved.
So moved by Bill, seconded by Dave. All right. So moved.
Hello?
Oh, yes. All right, folks, we are back from executive session. Be it that the board, since we are back, any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practical. Minutes of the private session would not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. All appropriate persons who may be discussed in the private session have been adequately notified. All right. Since we are back from closed session, Brian, can we do roll call one more time?
Mr. DeMeglio? Here. Mr. Grippo? Here. Dr. Hopkins?
Here.
Ms. Inocencio?
Here.
Ms. Maris?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Present.
Ms. Rafiq?
Here.
Ms. Welch?
Here.
Ms. Wilson?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Jennifer, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can I have a motion for action to adopt the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
So moved by Maher.
Second.
Who seconded that one? Clara? All right, seconded by Clara. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, let's go into our student report so these ladies could go do some homework.
Mission statement, did we do the mission statement?
We can. No, we didn't. No, that was the, let the ladies do their report, and then we could go back to the mission statement. Go ahead, ladies.
The mics aren't, oh.
Oh, now it does, okay. Good evening. My name is Aileen, and I am one of the Student Government BOE Alliances.
Good evening, my name is Emily, and I'm one of the Student Government BOE Alliances. Here are some things going on at FHS. The class of 2029 is raising for their senior events to create your own snack box at the end of April. More information will be on the 2029 Google Classroom page.
We are so happy to share the results of the New Jersey FBLA State Leadership Conference. 101 Franklin High School students competed overall. Those who placed in the top 4 in their event have qualified to represent New Jersey at the National FBLA Conference in San Antonio this June. We are so proud of all of our students.
The student government is doing a fundraiser for the NJASC State Charity Canine Response Crisis.
The class of 2029 will be holding an after-school volunteer event for the Elijah Promise Soup Kitchen. The sign-up form and more information will be in the 2029 Google Classroom.
On Saturday, March 21st, 2026, Ms. Durkle, FHS Social Studies teacher, and Ms. Welch, BOE member, were volunteer judges at the Regional New Jersey History Day competition held at St. Elizabeth University.
On Thursday, March 26, Franklin High School will be hosting its first ever Women's History Month event from 6 to 8:30 p.m. for FHS students and families. Entrance is $10 at the door, and the event will feature comedian and alumnus Erin Jackson, glow shops on several topics such as real estate, saving, and flight training, and will also feature a men's cook-off. Don't miss out.
On April 8th, the counseling department is hosting a junior night at 6 p.m. in the auditorium for juniors and their families. We will be going over important steps to support juniors in planning what's next after high school. Topics covered will be college applications, financial aid, letters of recommendations, and more. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. All right, before we go into the budget presentation, Bill, can you tell the audience about our mission with the mission statement?
All right, get this thing on. I got it. I got a dead battery. All right, the mission statement of the Franklin Township Public Schools. Franklin Township Public Schools embraces the diversity, its diversity, fosters excellent educational innovation, and empowers all students to achieve their highest potential.
Thank you. All right. It's now time for the preliminary budget presentation. Dr. Valley.
Thank you, sir. Everybody hear me?
Perfect.
I promise not to sing, although I feel like I'm about ready to. Tonight is what's called a preliminary budget presentation. So what'll happen, if you have questions, please jot them down. This is not a budget hearing. The budget hearing is next month. What happens after tonight, if the board approves the preliminary budget, it gets submitted to the Executive County Superintendent. The Executive County Superintendent and his staff will review non-instructional lines and look for uniformity within the budget, and then eventually they could request changes, but ultimately we seek their approval, which allows us to advertise it. Once the budget's advertised for a certain period of time, then we host our budget hearing, and at our budget hearing, then we do a presentation very similar to this one, by the way, and at that point, the public asks questions right after, the board member asks questions right after that, and then there's a vote on the budget, and if it so passes, it becomes the budget for the next school year. So, the reason I tell you that again is because if you have questions along the way, please jot those down, because you're not going to have an opportunity to ask them right away, but you will be able to ask them in that first public comment period, because that first public comment period, since this is an agenda item, is for agenda items only, so you'd be able to come up and make a comment or ask a question. For those that are new, the format is you ask your question, everybody gets to ask questions or make comments, and then at the end we can respond to some of that. But let's go forward. I just wanted to highlight the board members here, and especially those who are part of the, I don't know, does this funky thing work? No, I guess not. Those with asterisks, you can see Lori Maris and Mayhair. Lori and Mayhair are members of the Finance Committee, along with Mr. Parker, who is the chairperson of the Finance Committee, who worked alongside of us as we created the budget. And of course, Dr. Hopkins is the board president. He attends all those committee meetings as well. And then we have all the other board members that are listed there, and the appropriate committees were helpful along the way in keeping us to our board goals. These are the budget managers for the district. It's a big district. And with that comes a lot of folks who have their hands as part of managing and or building the budget. So you have 10 building principals, you have 14 content supervisors, all manage their piece of the budget, i.e. if you're the social studies supervisor, you're managing the money spent on social studies for the entire district. And if you're the elementary ELA, English Language Arts supervisor, you're doing the same for the elementary folks. So you can see a listing of all those folks that have not only input on the budget, but are responsible for helping to manage the budget. The goals for tonight, we're going to review the budget calendar briefly. We're going to breeze through the budget goals, and I'll explain that in just a second. We're going to receive Board of Education input, and then during the public comment section, like I said, write your questions down and hold them until the public comment section. We're going to review estimated revenues. My friend, Mr. Freed, our school business administrator, will do that. He'll review estimated tax impact, and then we'll tell you what our next steps are. Here's the budget calendar. You can see we start the budgeting process way back in October, and it's important to understand that because this doesn't happen in a vacuum. This happens way back in October when Mr. Freed and his talented team meet with the budget managers and kick things off. We craft our budget goals, we recommend them to the board holds them against their board goals and the strategic plan to make sure that everything is in alignment, and then we're off and running. We work through November, we work through December, January, and February, and get to the point where we are. After the governor's budget address, they give us the final bits of information that are needed in order to build the budget, and then we prepared for what's called the preliminary budget review, which is happening this evening. We submitted the day after or the day after that, so sometime this week, hopefully after the preliminary budget is approved, it'll get submitted to the county, and then we'll have our board hearing in April. These are the budget goals, and I'm not going to read these to you. And by the way, this will be posted on our website. The entire presentation will be posted on our website following tonight's meeting. But you can see there are 5 goals up here that really drive the budgeting process. And you'll see they're hyperlinked, that's the blue underline. They're hyperlinked to what board goals each of these budget goals tie to. And when you click on that hyperlink, it'll take you to what the board goal is. So you'll see that there is connection between what the direction the board gave us, those 45 people building the budget, and their goals for the year. The same is true with the strategic plan. We have a board-approved strategic plan, and this is how our board goals tie to the strategic plan. And again, they're hyperlinked. I'm not going to take you there, but when you get this in your hands online, you'll be able to do that. So the challenges, every year, there are challenges within a budget. How do we meet these budget goals while supporting and growing programs while staying within revenue limits? Very difficult when you have healthcare costs rising at unprecedented levels. So the state healthcare, if you're following any of that closely, the state health plan rose by over 30%. And we're no different. We offer similar plans, which means we had a huge increase in healthcare costs as well. We have anticipated increases in transportation costs, much greater than inflation. If you put all of our transportation together, and I'm including, sports and field trips and getting to school and back from school, I actually would estimate that we're somewhere in that 5 to 7% increase in transportation. I am thankful, though, that the board had the foresight to lock in a 5-year contract a couple of years back. If we didn't have a 5-year contract, I can only imagine if we had to go out to bid this year for transportation services, how much of an increase that actually could be. If you filled your car up lately, you know what I mean. Buses run on diesel fuel. Diesel fuel's about $5.50 a gallon in the last 3 or 4 weeks, right? So that would give a transportation company the opportunity, if we had to go out to bid, to raise that even higher because it would be cutting into their profits. We're locked in, thankfully, because we wanted the stability of a longer contract. We took the chance when we did that, if you remember, because, hey, costs could be down, but they're not, and they don't typically go down, so we rolled the dice and came out on the right side of that. Still a huge increase. That's a big line for us, multi-millions of dollars that are going to go up 7%. Same with healthcare, like I said, multi-millions of dollars going up 30%. That's, quite an increase. An increase of approximately 7% on the estimated charter school tuition. So we understand how that works. We pay tuition to the charter schools for kids that choose to attend the charter school. So it becomes an economic expense for us. We pay that. It's an added district tuition that comes from our operating budget and goes to feed their operating budget. We're estimating a 7% increase. The state actually estimated much higher. I've been here for a number of years. We've been here as a team for a number of years, so we've tracked the actual increases that we've experienced. And even though the state was asking us to budget about 1.9 million more than what we're actually going to budget, we're budgeting about half of the $3.1 million increase that they told us we had a budget, the state, that is. And that's because we do have that history where they don't seem to realize the amount that they estimate they're going to take. So we've got permission from the state, because we have that long history of showing an overestimation, not to have to budget that much. So I'm pretty comfortable, and we're pretty conservative at 7%, but 7% on $20 million is a lot of money. Increase in salaries greater than 2%. Again, I think the board did a great job negotiating the last contract, and the fact that we had lots of vacancies, we had lots of holes in our roster. We've been able to fill that, but that came at an expense, and our salary increases overall are greater than 2% when you add all of our groups, and we employ over 1,150 people in the district. So you can imagine that's a big number that puts a strain on our budget. And then the other challenge that not many people realize is last year we had to apply for the extra levy in order to balance our budget. We know that that was a lot. We didn't apply for all that we were eligible for because the board decided to use some of its savings, some of its revenue, or some of its reserves, its bank account money, to fund the budget. That's no longer there, So that leaves a $4 million hole in the budget that has to be plugged as well in order for us to continue with those programs that bank account money was funding. So those are all the challenges. That's what makes budgeting increasingly more difficult, especially when the cap is so low and the expenses are rising so high. So how did we meet our budget goals despite all of that? Well, I'm going to give you a glimpse at some of the programs that we're continuing. And by the way, we're continuing all of our successful programs. There's not a program that is being cut if it's been successful for us. We do have a slight shifting in staff. We're going to bring on some new and different staff in the place of some staff that we're able to trim down based on enrollment. So with that said, let's talk about supporting district initiatives that ensure physical and mental well-being of students. Under mental health supports, we've learned that Bridgeway is no longer offering psychological evaluation services. That's for kids that end up in crisis for one reason or another. Robert Wood Johnson will now be handling that for the county. As a result of that, our fees will increase. So Bridgeway offered that service at one time for the county. Now Robert Wood Johnson will be doing it, and we'll be paying more per kid as a result. So that's an increase that we have to support. We're continuing the use of our licensed clinical mental health counselors at all our grade levels. We have one at the elementary level. We have one at the middle school level, and Dr. Solomon, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 at the high school? I can't remember. We have 2 at the high school. 2 at the high school, 1 at the middle school, and 1 at the elementary school. We're expanding the elementary mental health supports, and hopefully, now we pay an outside company to provide the mental health counseling that I just mentioned, our idea, and they have a cutoff on the number of kids they can service. And you know, that somewhat makes sense, right? They're hiring folks, they're telling you, we've got a cap at X. We think we might be able to do a little better with that, so we're gonna slowly try and take that over. We think it will save money and provide more service, but we're not there yet. However, we do want to try and add a part-time person that we would employ in a similar way to the service we use now, and then maybe eventually be able to expand over time on that. Physical facility safety, we're going to add additional school surveillance equipment. We're going to upgrade visitor management systems. We're going to maintain our Class 3 program, and that comes at a cost this year because they're under a new contract, so that increases our expense to put an officer in every school. We're going to comply with the new cell phone bell-to-bell use law. I don't think that's going to be a huge expense, but it's going to be an expense just the same. We have some wellness initiatives going on all under that goal number 1. We're going to open and operate, finally, our Zufall Health Center for students. That's on the middle school campus, and Zufall Health will be providing the service in that facility at no cost to us, but of course there's a cost to operating the center. Although be it slight, it will offer a good opportunity for us to meet the needs of our students who need that service. We're going to expand our services with Integrity Partnership Health to promote staff wellness at our Staff Health Center. And we're going to continue with Sustainability New Jersey wellness initiatives, and that really covers all. And that's in all of our buildings, and we usually do that via various grants. We have climate and culture work we're doing in our schools. We have school counselors and school-based SEL teams with the ongoing integration of programming around, and that NJSCI is a survey that measures climate and culture in a building. And then Dr. Logren and his team take that information and put it into, use it to put plans into action to address the things that are identified by those surveys. We're going to continue district-wide SEL days, and that's social emotional learning days, and school-by-school implementation of SEL programs. we're going to expand a new pilot. It's the spoken word therapy program. It's been hugely successful for us. And we are going to work to build that out a bit to help with climate and culture in our schools. Under specialized programs, we're going to expand some programs. So we have a thriving medically fragile and autism program in our district, and we're looking to expand that to service more kids. We're going to maintain our preschool programs. We have about 95% of our classrooms integrated at this point, which is the suggested state model, and we do that through a state grant. And that's a grant that, if you heard the budget, if you heard the governor's address, she talked about in her address, and we're going to continue to capitalize servicing our students eligible for early childhood, 3 and 4-year-olds. We're going to expand high-impact tutoring. If you did hear the governor's address, you heard her tout our success with high-impact tutoring. She specifically mentioned our program. Dr. Logren and his team have been working hard to offer high-impact tutoring, which is a very aggressive one-to-one tutoring kind of program. And we're doing it with grant money, but that grant money comes in and becomes part of our budget. So we're excited that, if you heard her address, she's expanding the grant opportunities there. And, you know, since we were touted as a poster child for those things, we're going to try and capitalize on that. We're going to continue with the expansion of our bilingual programming. So Claremont Elementary School is adding another grade level so that they'll be pre-K through 4 in the coming year, and then the following year they'll be pre-K through 5. They'll have a bilingual homeroom, as well as PGM having a bilingual homeroom. One section in each of those 2 schools will have bilingual homerooms, and the need is there, and honestly, in order to service the amount of kids we have, we needed to start to build that program out about some 3-4 years ago. And we're going to expand the use of depth and complexity frameworks. So that's again, Dr. Logren and his team have been working on implementing these frameworks as a pilot in our schools, and it helps teachers to differentiate instruction. So it helps to meet those kids at the higher end of the learning spectrum while also meeting the needs of those kids in the middle and maybe at the lower end, and offering the supports that are needed so all kids are challenged. We've had some good success with the pilot, and we're looking to expand it further because we do have a wide range of students in our classrooms, and this has been a good support for our kids. New initiatives, really excited about unveiling the Franklin Middle School Warrior Next Tech Academy. So our Next Tech Academy, proud of the work that our 2 administrators right here are doing, Dr. Arsawala and Mr. Siegel, in leading this initiative, and all the other folks that have worked on it. We have 75 students lined up to be in, or will be lined up soon. We're in the selection process right now, and they'll be housed in the Hamilton Street campus of Franklin Middle School, where they will be a school within a school, and it'll be a STEM-like academy using immersive technologies to further their studies in the area of regular comprehensive subjects and disciplines, as well as STEM-related programming, all in connection with, as you'll see later on, SHI, which is a local, huge technology company that will be offering the opportunity to mentor our kids as we work with them in the program. We're going to introduce cosmetology studies at Franklin High School, and we're going to do that in partnership with Raritan Valley Community College. So we initially wanted to introduce 4 cohorts. It looks like we're going to be able to at least initiate 2, and there'll be about 40 students who will have the opportunity to be taught by an RVCC professor and begin their studies in cosmetology. We're going to offer an integrated JROTC opportunity for students at FHS. We have a junior ROTC program that is an award-winning program And lots of general education students have always been part of it. This is now going to be opened up for students with special needs to be included and integrated into that opportunity as well, with full supports so that they have every means to be successful. So we're excited about that. It'll be a first year for us. Goal 2, continuing, part of that is professional development. Unite PD, that is teachers teaching teachers, and we initiated that this year. We're going to look to continue it into next year. It's been popular, it's been a wonderful program, and we're looking to continue to grow that effort. We're going to continue with our multi-sensory reading support. That's Orton Gillingham training by name, if you will. You've heard a lot about the science of reading and all the efforts in that area, and Orton Gillingham certainly helps and supports that. We're going to provide PD with a focus on problem-based learning. We're working with Intel Corporation. You've probably heard of Intel. We're working with Intel Corporation on that. And we're going to look to focus most of that effort with our Next Tech Academy teachers, but hopefully expand upon that in future years. And as we always do, and as we are responsible to do, we're going to continue to provide content-specific training in all disciplines. Goal 3, and I promise you we're almost to the numbers. Goal 3, new partnerships. That partnership with SHI, as I said earlier, is going to help us to open our Next Tech Academy. And again, professionals in the world of STEM will be mentoring our students, our 6th graders, as they're studying and working to further their education as it relates to engineering, AI, all those STEM-related fields. We're partnering with Intel, as I just said, to provide professional development and curriculum for the Warrior Next Tech Academy, and we have our agreement, these are new, have our agreement with RVCC to provide all the materials and all the curriculum for a career, and the teacher, for a career path cosmetology course at FHS, with the hope that students will then move on to RVCC, if so interested, gain their certification and an associate's degree at the end of the program. Continued partnerships. We have a great partnership with the YMCA, AKA. We use a lot of private providers in the Franklin community in order to host our district preschool students. Zufall Medical, we work with them now. We're going to continue to work with them in the future, meeting the health needs of our kids in our school-based health center that is on the Hamilton Street campus. And we are going to continue our partnership with Integrity Health, who provides all of the services and pharmaceutical services to meet the needs and wellness of our staff members. Sustainability initiatives. We're going to initiate an ESIP project plan, and that's based on a recent energy audit. For those of you that maybe aren't familiar with an energy audit, they, just like your house, except, you know, we've got lots of big buildings here. They come in, they audit all of your energy sources. They look for ways in which you can save, and then they help you to develop a project plan that, to make some adjustments that are based on the savings. We sell solar credits. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have our own solar panels on the Claremont Elementary School. So we actually sell those solar credits and take that revenue to pay the panels off. Eventually, hopefully, we can bring that revenue into the budget down the road. And both at Claremont, we get electrical savings, and in our other buildings that have solar panels, we're part of the county PPO, so we're getting only the electrical savings there, but that is coming to an end. But we've been able to, Mr. Freed and his team have been able to negotiate a successful deal that will allow us to continue to take advantage of the electrical savings through the PPO, even though some of the panels are aged and getting ready to come off. And we're going to continue our teacher and school leader support of all of our Sustainable Jersey learning initiatives to promote environmentally responsive practices. We have 10 school-based green teams now, and they work as the engine for promoting these initiatives. And most of them, if not all of them, by now have won grants to support their work. And most of them, if not all of them, by now have been recognized by the state for the good work that they're doing. Last slide I have are the personnel changes, and I wanted to make you all aware of this. And a lot of this is shifting, like I said. This is not a lot of new money, but maybe some money that's being shifted. And that is to add that additional bilingual teacher at CES to continue the growth of that program. So that's adding a 4th grade bilingual teacher. The immersion lab teacher at Warrior Next Tech Academy, that's again, we're building that space out as we speak. And our Next Tech Academy kids will be often utilizing that space to support their learning, and that teacher will help facilitate the use of that lab. The licensed clinical mental health counselor, that part-time person we talked about, the special ed teachers, there's 5 of them there, and the paraprofessional to support the growth of the autism program. Again, all of that, some of it has direct budget impact, some of it comes from moving around teachers. And that takes us to the numbers. Mr. Freed. Hold this one.
Good evening, folks. Stephen Freed, School Business Administrator. So I am going to run through our revenue and appropriations on a projected 2027 budget. So this is a snapshot of the levy. So our 2027 tax levy with the 2% increase is projected $183,074,681. With that, we're asking to take the healthcare adjustment of $11,316,634. And this is an allowable adjustment that the DOE allows you to use to offset, insurance costs. So this varies from year to year, and in this year the amount was $11 million, largely because of the state health benefit plan is increasing around 31%. So they, project that most districts in New Jersey are going to have a similar increase. And when the rest of your budget is capped at 2%, and they know that this is typically this, the single largest budget line item, they allow you this adjustment. This is one of the few qualified tax levy adjustments. And so the total 2027 tax levy would be $194,391,315, and that makes up 88% of our revenues. So just to put that into context, when you're in a district like Franklin where it's almost entirely funded by the tax levy, 88%, if you were to not take this year, the healthcare adjustment, only take the 2%, that would have to mean that everything else in your operating budget, all of your expenses, would only go up 2%. And we know that that's not the case. Charter schools are going way up, health benefits going way up, utilities, just about everything. So there's only 2 ways to make this budget balance, and that's increasing revenues via this healthcare adjustment or massive cuts, in appropriations. And finding $11 million in cuts would have been an enormous task. So this is where we're at with the tax levy. Moving on to our capital reserve withdrawals. This year, a modest capital reserve withdrawal of $125,000. This is to outfit the classroom for the Next Tech Academy that Dr. Ravalli was talking about. And so capital reserve is a parking place for unspent appropriations. So, when a budget year ends and you have your financial audit, they certify to what all your revenues and appropriations and expenditures were. And if you have any unspent appropriations, and you hope that you do, you plug that extra amount into your different reserve accounts, or you could use it as a revenue stream in the form of budgeted fund balance. So because we haven't plugged any money back into those reserve accounts in the last year, we decided that we're not going to take large withdrawals out to do different construction projects. But that's not to say that we've depleted those accounts. We just feel it's responsible, since we didn't put a large deposit back in, we're not taking a large withdrawal in this budget. And so this is a summary of our local revenues. Again, on the top, that's our tax levy. Next line item is the budgeted fund balance, the number I was talking about. Those are zeros all the way across. It was 0 in the budget year we're in now, and it's 0 in the budget we're proposing. Just for history's sake, in 2024 and 2025, we took about 1.5 million. And so we've weaned off of using that as a one-time revenue, and that's a positive thing. Tuitions, these are received tuitions for students who live out of Franklin but come to Franklin schools. We're projecting this to increase to 190,000. That's where our enrollments are at right now, and we're projecting they'll be around the same next year. Capital reserve, as I illustrated, we're only taking 125,000 out. Maintenance reserve, we're not taking any, and unassigned surplus, we're also not taking any. Miscellaneous interest income, we drove down this projection around 400,000. This is largely interest income, and we generate a lot of that interest income on our cash balances. And because we used our reserve cash balances, we're generating less interest income on lower balances there. So I drove that, that balance down. So our total local revenues are increasing 5.7%. Just for comparison's sake, in the prior year, local revenues were increasing 9.06. So this is less of an increase than in prior year. Some of our other revenues, our total state aid. This is our categorical aids, categorical special ed, transportation, and security aid. Our categoricals went up 970,000, but netted into that increase is a $527,000 reduction of tax levy incentive aid. It was a one-time grant that we were given last year as part of our tax levy application. They gave us around $527,000 as an incentive to do the application. And so that was available to us last year and not this year. So state aid is going up 2.11%. Extraordinary aid, we're projecting this to go up to 3.3 million, up 550,000. This is based on the fact that the latest extraordinary aid grant award that we were given was 3.3 million. So we think that we'll be at least in the same ballpark for extraordinary aid. And extraordinary aid is used to defray the cost of out-of-district tuitions that we pay for our private schools and public schools. The semi-aid, that's a special education Medicare initiative. This is a number given to us by the county. I think we typically clear this hurdle of our revenue projection, but we don't develop it. They tell us what to budget. And this is a reimbursement for health-related service provided to Medicaid-eligible students. So total general fund revenue is projected to go up 5.57% for the budget year. Special revenue fund, this is our grant fund. This is our title funds and our IDA funds and our PEA funds. Our PEA grant is up around 400,000, but for the rest of our grant, standard practice is to budget only 85% of our current year allocation. So the net of all that is a reduction of 689,000. And the debt service fund, this is our bond and our bond principal and interest payments that I pull right off our amortization schedules. And so that payment is a decrease of $121,049. So the total operating budget, we're estimating to be $246,584,575, or an increase of 4.59%. So looking at the tax rate, this calculation is on a calendar year because the municipality, Township of Franklin, works on a calendar year. So we have to annualize our fiscal year budgets that are on a split year to be on calendar year. So these tax levy numbers, you won't be able to tie in to my other tax levy numbers because we're, July to June, and they're January to December. So the calendar year, which is the second half of this period we're in right now, second half of school year 2026, and the first half of school year 2027, tax levies 193, 717, 670. The net valuation taxable, this number comes from our municipal tax assessor, and they are saying that our ratables are going up $650,425,700. So when you divide out this math, the tax rate is going up 0.05%. And the impact of that on the average assessed home is also from the tax assessor. The average assessed home value is going up $17,055. School tax rate number, that's from the prior slide, and multiplying that out, the annual tax impact to the average home is $6,393, or an increase of $481. And just to illustrate that last year's budget, the increase to the average homeowner was $673. And this budget we're projecting is an increase of $481, so a slight less increase than last year's increase. And the next steps are this presentation and the agenda item that's on the board's agenda for approval for the preliminary budget. If it gets approved, I submit that to the county office tomorrow, and they give me any comments or feedback or any changes that they'd like to make, and I incorporate those changes. And then at the next month's meeting, we have our formal budget hearing where we do another presentation and vote in the budget, and it becomes finalized. Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Stephen and Dr. Rivali. Now, to my fellow board members, any questions, Jennifer?
Not this time.
Okay. Claire?
None for me.
Nick?
Nothing right now.
All right. Bill? Bill?
Yeah, I'm with you, Dennis. You just got to, my brain's got to connect.
Well, you get, I don't know.
So, for the sake of the public, because sometimes people leave when we do our public comments, we have 3 citizens here from the public tonight. One I invited from St. Matthias Church to hear our budget, and 2 are her friends. But where's the public? When people complain about a budget of this magnitude, they have no idea. You can't get this on a website. You've got to be here to hear this presentation. And you, both of you, Dr. Rivali and Mr. Freed, did a tremendous presentation. And, I say that in front of the professionals that are here, because congratulations, in my opinion, every professional should be here. Every administrator should be here. I got to watch, I don't talk out of school here tonight. But this was a great presentation, and it's an education. I mean, I sit here, and as my father used to say, my buttons are popping, baby. That means I'm proud of what the district has done with all these programs, with the 1,100 staff members, thousands of students. This is not a joke. People come up to me and say, oh, yeah, the taxes are raising. Well, you went to some critical issues. We're a busing district. We're not South Bound Brook, where you throw a stone at your school. We're a busing district. It's like a railroad station. It caused buses all over the place. We've got a couple of charter schools. That sucks the life out of you sometimes. The health program, the health services that we provide our staff are necessary. And the budget goals, if you listen to those budget goals tonight, like I was kind of scratching my head, I've been around for a while, and just to listen to the goals that we have in Franklin Township is impressive. They're very impressive, Mr. Union Guy. You guys have you should be proud of yourself. This is a wonderful district. And I am surprised that my friends, and so many thousands of friends I have in Franklin Township, they're not sitting here. This night is a centerpiece of the life of a district. You're presenting the budget for all of what I just said for next year. So I congratulate you. There's no questions. I mean, I could sit here and pick little things apart, like, buses, yeah, little things, but I don't have any questions. I just want to commend you. Dr. Ravalli, this is your last preliminary budget hearing. Thank you for your service. And that's it. So I'm not going to say anything in public comments. I'll spare you tonight. Thank you very much. You can clap.
All right. It's just odd how this works out. We have our finance committee last to comment with questions, and I'm going to reserve what I have to say about the finance committee to the end. But Lori?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who had a hand in pulling this budget together. This is a huge task, and I just want to say thank you, because despite the fact that we need to watch every penny, I see us investing in every facet of our students. Every student, no matter what their interest level, we've got investments in CTE this year. We've got investments in ROTC, we've got the Next Tech Academy, we've got investments in gifted and talented. No matter what your student's strength is, there's something here in Franklin for them. And I'm just really gratified to see that, and I thank you all for making that happen.
Thank you, Lori. Mahir?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to commend Dr. Ravalli and Mr. Freed, because numbers are not easy to understand, and I know that as a finance person, and it was just impressive for somebody with how to bring the numbers and for the budget and have it to be easily understood. Thank you.
All right, and the chairman.
Gentlemen, just a couple of questions really quick. One on reserves and priorities for you, Mr. Freed, and the other Dr. Ravalli on adequacy and fair share. Stephen, can you give us a quick explanation on how not taking out of our reserves is a net positive for us, and the fact that we can still support things like, student health and, our STEM and our vocational capabilities?
Sure. Not taking out of our reserves is a good thing, right? Because we have there's a bunch of categories of reserves. The unassigned reserve is the one that I talk about the most. We took $1 million in 2025 and the 1.7 in 2026. That is like your rainy day fund that you don't often touch, and all the excess surplus that you generate in excess of that goes into your different reserve accounts like capital and maintenance and emergency. And whatever clears those hurdles goes into budgeted surplus, which is a revenue stream. So, it gives me comfort, and it should give everyone comfort, having a cushion there. And we only go there when we need to in extremely difficult budget years, and that's what we've had. In rising inflation environments, that's what we've had, and we went into those reserves, and, with determination, I want to, at the end of this year, plug money back into those accounts, and, at the end of this one we're building right now, it's important to me because it's inherent to the health of the budget, having healthy reserves.
Thank you. Dr. Ravalli, last year there was a huge gap in our state adequacy. Can you tell us where we are now?
Yes, we're still below adequacy, and for those that don't recall that conversation last year, the state actually takes a per pupil amount, and they use that per pupil amount, and then they throttle it up. High school kids cost more than elementary kids, and a high school kid who has special needs costs more, and then a high school kid with special needs who might be English as a second language, and they keep adding to that. So that then accounts for the diversity of your population. They multiply the number of high school kids you have, the number of kids you have with all those different unique needs, and they come up with what they call an adequacy budget, what they believe as a state would be fair, a fair amount of money to spend on your students. We're still below, and that does get plugged into the state formula for state aid. We are still below. 4.2 million is what the latest download shared with us, is that we're still slightly below what the state considers adequate spending for a diverse population such as ours, and what our overall budget should be. And then fair share is the amount, not me, the state. Fair share is the amount that the state calculates you should be burdening as a taxpayer in your local community. So, i.e., they come up with that based on property wealth and earning overall wealth in the community. And there's a formula for that, and then they tell you what percentage of that adequacy budget you should, in your local community, be shouldering based on that calculation. We're still below there as well. We're about 6 million below the fair share calculation, so we're about 4.2 million below the adequacy calculation, and about 6 million below the fair share calculation, and that does have an impact on the amount of state aid that you may gain in any one given year.
But we've gotten closer, right, since last year?
Yeah, last year we were double digits away in both categories. Both categories were double digits. The extra levy obviously helped to close that gap a bit. Yes, we were much further away last year. We're closer in both categories this year, which should help in future years to maybe help on the aid side of things.
Good, good. Well, look, thank you to you and your team for the time, the effort in advancing the district goals. Rising expenses, inflationary pressure of war, increasing healthcare costs. You guys have addressed the replenishment of our reserves, so thank you. Really appreciate that. Reduced taxpayer burden to an extent. Continue to maintain strong health support for the students and overall student wellness, which is a huge plus. Continue the development of STEM. Dr. Hopkins, I know that's big for you, capabilities. And then something that I really love, the expanded vocational and technical educational resources. Dr. Logman, thank you very much. That is tremendous. And I know it's a preliminary budget, but we're not there yet, but we're better than we were last year. It reflects thoughtful progress by your team and a clear commitment to balancing the budget, the fiscal responsibility, and with student needs as well. So thank you very much for you and your team. Appreciate it.
Madam VP.
No questions for me, just thank you for that thorough budget.
All right, a couple of top things I want to highlight. In number one, Dr. Ravalli, Mr. Freed, thank you for the presentation, the time and effort that goes into this. As a fly on the wall in all these committees, the Finance Committee, I want to thank you for asking those hard questions and having the liaison, Mr. Freed, seek out those answers to help build this budget. One of the things that I want to share with the public, though, is that some of the things that some may forget or may not realize what goes into a budget of the district itself. Sometimes we forget that the charter schools are part of this budget itself. So any increases that the charter schools ask and the state approve, that impacts the district budget. Number two, like Dr. Vivaldi said, that I believe it was last year or maybe 2 years ago that we locked in the contracts with the busing, like Bill said, that we are a busing district. So just imagine if we go out to bid for the busing contracts today with the diesel prices as is today. This budget would be a lot more. And it's nothing, we can't run away from the healthcare increases. And with the Zufar and some of the other, the clinic for the employees that was established, those particular items help decrease the cost of the healthcare in the district also, because without those items, that particular number would go up too. But keep it in mind, we do take the stakeholders, when I say stakeholders, we take this very seriously, all of the people in the district who has kids presently in school, either or don't have kids in school. When we vote on things and when we ask those hard questions in committees, we take all of our stakeholders in mind, and we definitely keep the amount of money that our stakeholders is invested into our precious students. And lastly, like all of the folks here said in the presentation presented for itself, that the goals that the board has set out, that we have touched upon, I think, every area within our district in the sense of trying to have our students to become productive adults. We hit on the Next Tech Academy from the academia point of view. I'm a military guy, so the JROTC for our special needs is huge. We are celebrating 250 years of America. So how patriotic is that? How about that, Bill? They could put the flag on their uniform. Cosmetology. We are, regardless of what avenue our students choose to go down, what road they choose to go down, the high school itself is providing avenues for kids to take advantage of. So, once again, excellent presentation, kudos, and we'll see what the state has once they scrub this budget, and we'll see you next month. All right. Let's move on with this agenda. I guess Dr. Rivali had to hustle back to his seat unless he knows for his superintendent.
Two memories. The only thing I wanted to do was say thank you to all the budget managers, as well as Mr. Freed and his staff, and the board for your support. Oops, Mr. Bonanno turned me off. You must be timing this.
Got to buy new microphones, put it in the budget, right?
Can't afford it. Yeah, so again, thank you, Mr. Freed, thank you to your staff, thank you to all the budget managers, some of whom are here. It's never an easy task when you're, living on a 2% increase in inflationary times. It's super difficult to be able to maintain really positive things for our kids, do the right thing to keep faculty moving forward, and again, board support is important, and I appreciate all the work that the committees did to help us get there. So thank you to all. And I'll end with this, just a reminder that spring break begins on Monday, and it is a week long, so we are back in school the following Monday. So it's, actually, no, wait, Brian, yes, begins on Monday to Friday this year. That's right.
Oh, right.
And I thank you for that reminder, Mr. Bonanno. And our lucky Hamilton Street folks get an extra day because we were forced to close that campus due to some down wires in the recent windstorm. So they will be in for the minimum session day that was canceled on March 30th. Making up their day. The rest of the district will be closed as far as schools go, and then all schools will be closed Tuesday through Friday. So just a point of clarification, wanted to make sure we were clear on that, and have a wonderful break, upcoming break. That's it for us.
All right, I'm back up with the president report. Can I have a moment of silence? It is with great sadness that I ask you to pause for a moment of silence to honor 3 former employees who recently passed away and who embodied the warrior spirit. First, Lorraine Sapolera, a beloved and longtime elementary teacher who has served the district for 40 years. Second teacher, Anna Demente, who served the students of Franklin for over 50 years, serving as a mentor for staff and advocate for students. And finally, Lynn Rivers, a former Franklin High School head football coach who led the team to a championship season in 1984 and 87, and who later served the district as a human resource recruiter. All 3 of these warriors inspire our students and have made us proud. Let us take a moment to remember them and think of their families and friends during these difficult times. Let's have that moment. Thank you. All right, next, student filmmaker. The 24th annual Garden State Film Festival is coming up later this week, and I am happy to say that one of our Franklin High School juniors in the aspect of video CTE program will have her film shown in the festival. Kennedy Price created the film over the summons as part of the Black Girls Film Camp. We are very proud of this accomplishment. Finally, the Zoo Fall Health Center ribbon cutting. Finally, I am happy to announce that the ribbon cutting on the Zoo Fall School-Based Health Center located on the grounds of Hamilton Street campus of Franklin Middle School will take place on Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. We will be sharing further information on this event in the Health Center in the near future. All right, let's move on now. Can I have a motion for comments from the public? Agenda items only.
So moved.
So moved by Nick. Second by Bill. All right. We are open for, all in favor? Aye, okay. We are now open for public comments, 5 minutes only, agenda items only, and as always, as stated at the beginning of the year, Dr. Solomon is the timekeeper, so be mindful of your time. And when you step to the podium, state your name and give us your address.
Seeing no one from the public to come up and speak, I move to close the public session.
Second.
Okay. So moved in seconds, moved by Bill and seconded by Erica. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so move. All right, we are on to our committee reports, and let's start off with policy. And give us a summary. What happened in policy this month?
Good evening. The Policy Subcommittee met virtually on Monday, March 9th, 2026. The meeting started 5:30 p.m. In attendance were Mary Clark, Bill Grippo, Dennis Hopkins, John Ravalli, Clara Wilson, and myself. The committee proposed revisions to Policy 5841, Secret Societies. The policy prohibits the formation of student organizations that are not open to all students. The committee noted that this change would allow the policy to remain aligned with the current law and reduce the need for future revisions whenever regulatory language is updated. There being no further business, the meeting concluded at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Nick, you up with personnel.
Okay, so the Personnel Committee meeting took place on March 17th, 5 o'clock p.m. Myself as the chair, Lori Maris, Jimmy Parker, Dr. Dennis Hopkins, Dr. John Ravalli, Brian Bonanno, and Colleen Devlin. We went over the personnel report that was presented that included recommendations for appointments to the positions of supervisor of special education pre-K through 5, supervisor of ESL and bilingual education, visual arts teachers, paraprofessional, and substitute staff. And the report recommendations for additional assignments, extracurricular appointments, spring sports staffing, leaves of absence, transfers, and resignations were also reviewed. The meeting ended at 6:10.
All right, before we go on to our next committee report, I think it's just right on time to, we have two of the new hirees here, and I'm gonna ask them to step to the mic and introduce themselves and tell us what they are doing. First, we're gonna start with Ms. Janet Warbeck.
Good evening, President, members of the board, superintendent, cabinet, staff, and community members. Standing here tonight feels both humbling and incredibly special. More than 20 years ago, I walked into Franklin Township Public Schools as a first grade teacher, full of energy, hope, and a deep belief in what children can achieve at only 6 years old. To return now, decades later, in the role of supervisor of ESL and bilingual education is an honor that is difficult to put into words. This moment is meaningful to me not only because I'm returning to a district that shaped my early teaching career, but also because I am a multilingual learner myself. I know firsthand the challenges, the uncertainties, and the support that must be in place for students like me to grow into confident, successful English speakers. That lived experience guides me every day, and it fuels my commitment to ensuring that our students feel valued, capable, and fully supported. I am especially proud to join a district that is already recognized by the state as a model program for ESL and bilingual education. That distinction does not happen by accident. It is the result of dedicated educators, visionary leadership, and a community that values the brilliance and potential of its multilingual learners. I am honored to continue that good work and to help strengthen it even further. My commitment is simple. I will be a strong advocate for our multilingual learners and their families, and I will work to ensure that every student, regardless of the language they speak at home, has access to the opportunities, support, and high-quality instruction they deserve. Thank you for the opportunity to serve a district of this caliber. I am grateful for your trust, and I look forward to partnering with all of you as we continue to celebrate the rich cultures of students and elevate their success. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Corey Cohen? All right, sir, the mic is yours. All right.
Good evening, Dr. Ravalli, members of the board, cabinet members, and our community members. First off, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the board and the cabinet and Dr. Ravalli for your confidence in me. I am truly honored by the opportunity to serve our district in this new capacity as the elementary special education supervisor. When I was first hired almost 11 years ago as a math teacher, Mike Deanna, the principal at the time, asked me if I knew what made Franklin so special. And before I could answer, he told me, "We support our teachers here." I felt that support immediately. On my first day that January, I met Dave Whitman at the doors of HSC. We were both new, he as a vice principal and I as a teacher. When we realized neither of us knew where his office or my classroom was located, Dave simply said to me, "Let's go find them together." Those two moments defined my introduction to Franklin. They taught me early on that this district isn't just a place of work, it's a community that moves forward together. That sense of belonging is why Franklin has been my professional home for over a decade. Over the last 11 school years, I've had the privilege of growing from a math teacher to a dean and now to a supervisor. This journey would have not been possible without the unwavering support of my family, my colleagues, and the administrative teams across the district. While there are too many individuals to thank by name tonight, please know that I am deeply grateful to everyone who has cheered for me, mentored me, and opened doors for me along the way. I look forward to carrying the lessons I've learned in the classroom and as a dean in this next chapter. I am eager to get to work supporting our students, families, and staff in the special education department. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to communication. Anything from communication, Jennifer?
Yes, we went over some of the recent community outreach. We met on March 9th. We went over some of the recent community outreach efforts, especially for the Next Tech Academy, the New Jersey SEI survey, and obviously a lot of outreach for the superintendent search. There was also discussion about the middle school placement letters, which should be going out soon, and a variety of events that are coming up, such as the Future Educators Boot Camp, the Warrior for Life Sneaker Ball that will be this weekend, and the open houses for the middle school in April 15th and April 28th.
Thank you. All right, CI curriculum, Erica.
Yes, the Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on March 9th virtually at 6 p.m. Present were myself as chair, Jennifer Welsh, Clara Wilson, and Dr. Hopkins, as well as Dr. Logren, Dr. Avalli, Eric Siegel, Supervisor of Science, Right to Know, and Work-Based Learning, K-12, and Anna Washington, Director of Research and Planning Assessment and Accountability. Excuse me. Some new business discussed. The committee discussed the following proposals for board consideration: a grant application in response to the New Jersey Learning Acceleration Program High Impact Tutoring Grant made available through New Jersey DOE. If awarded, this grant would provide $160,000 to address student increased academic needs and accelerate learning by implementing the High Impact Tutoring Program. The committee also discussed the Warrior Next Tech Academy applications and selection criteria. The meeting concluded at 6:29 p.m.
Thank you. All right, Clara, you up with safety and security?
So we met on March 12th at 7 p.m. We met virtually. In attendance were myself, Jennifer Welch, Erica Inocencio, Dr. Hopkins, Dr. Solomon, and Dr. Avalli. We discussed the discipline, HIB, and suspension reports from February. We also discussed, Dr. Solomon gave an update on the status of the safety and security audit. That's going to be happening starting in June of 2026 and ending in January of 2027. We also discussed the very exciting bell-to-bell cell phone ban for next school year. Dr. Solomon reviewed a presentation regarding this bell-to-bell cell phone ban, which is the mandate issued by the New Jersey Department of Education that will take effect next year, again. We also went over the high school graduation, middle school moving up ceremonies in terms of safety and procedures regarding that. We also went over the district trainings and where we are with that. The meeting concluded at 8:10 p.m.
Thank you. Bill, what's going on in facilities?
Okay, we met on March 23rd, and Mr. Freed provided us with a power-packed agenda. It included myself as chair, Nick DeMeglio, Jimmy Parker, Dennis Hopkins, Dr. Rivalli, Mr. Bonanno, Stephen Freed, and Ryan Ellis. So everybody was there. And we went over a change order that had to take place for Sioux Fall that included some project work to supply some new exhaust fan, thermostat, electrical connections. Sioux Fall project updates were given also by Mr. Ortiz of where we're at with that, getting ready for the ribbon cutting. The Chiller project updates, Mr. Ortiz gave the committee project updates about chiller replacement projects at Franklin High School and Franklin Park School. Facility use was reviewed by various people that have applications in. And then there was a discussion on facility improvements with Mr. Freed and Dr. Rivalli, shared topics that were discussed at district facility meetings with architects and financial advisors, etc. An energy report is always exciting by Mr. Ellis, who presented the committee with the status of the Claremont School solar system. So we went through quite a bit, and that meeting was over around 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Bill. And last, finance.
Our discussion revolved mainly around the budget. We got a longer version of the preliminary budget presentation that you received. So we had our questions, and we went through that. We discussed all of the bills for the month that were taken care of, and that concluded that meeting.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go on to new business.
We're moving, starting with I'm sorry? Yes, so I'm making a motion to move R1, monthly report, M1, minutes of board meetings, A1, adoption of the 2026-2027 preliminary budget, A2, travel and related expense reimbursement, A3, affirm harassment, intimidation, and bullying decisions. A4, Women's History Month. A9,
No.
no? Why is it?
That should be A5.
I see. Okay, A5, Week of the Young Child, April 11th through 17th, 2026. A6, donation. A7, revised policy, second reading. A8, revised policy, first reading. A9, facilities use. B1, warrants and payrolls. B2, financial reports. B3, monthly financial certification. B4, contract approval. We are at B5, change orders. B6, purchasing manual. B7, receipts of bids. That's bid number 202701, commercial appliance repair, hot and cold. B8, award of bids. Bid number 202701, commercial appliance repair, hot and cold. B9, receipt of bids, playground project for Franklin Park School. B10, award of bid, playground project for Franklin Park School. C1, out-of-district students, 2025-2026 school year. C2, field trip destinations. C3, field trip applications. C4, application, New Jersey Learning Acceleration Program, High Impact Tutoring Grant, Cohort 3. P1, workers' compensation settlement. P2, personnel report, number 9. And I believe that's it. That's everything.
All right, thank you, Madam VP. So we have a motion on the floor to move R1, M1, A1 through A9, B1 through B10, C1 through C4, P1 and P2. Can I have a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded by Bill. Brian, can we have roll call on this?
Mr. Demeglia.
Yes.
Yes, but I will abstain from M1C. I wasn't at that meeting.
Mr. Grippo.
Yes.
Dr. Hopkins.
Yes.
Ms. Inocencio.
Yes.
Ms. Maris.
Yes.
Mr. Park.
Yes.
Ms. Rafiq.
Yes.
Ms. Welch.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
So move. All right. We are all, where we at now? Comments, I believe. Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah. All right, can I have a motion to open comments from the public on any topic?
So moved.
So moved by Jimmy.
Second.
Seconded by who? Okay. Moved by Nick, seconded by Jimmy. All in favor? Aye. So moved. All right. As stated earlier, those who choose to come up to the podium, state your name, address, and Dr. Solomon is your timekeeper.
Seeing no one coming up for the public comments, Mr. President, I move to close the public session.
So moved by Bill,
Second.
Seconded by Mahir.
We got somebody going up.
Okay,
Okay, go ahead, sir.
go ahead. Sure. State your name and address, and as stated, Dr. Solomon is your timekeeper.
My name is Yang Zhou. My address is 128 Selby Court, New Jersey. My question is for the budget, because I don't know how the budget to come up. So for my first question is there any limitation for the budget? Which is based on, what is the base on to come up this budget? I know one is come from the needs. You come up, say, what is the cost, what is increase? But however, I want to know, is any limit to set for the budget? What you base for the limit? So first question is any budget or limit for the budget? What the base for that? Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons?
Seeing nobody else, Mr. President, I move to close the public session.
Second.
All right, so moved by Bill, seconded by Mahir. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So move.
Yeah, sure. If I understand the question correctly, it's what is the base or the starting point for the budget, which would be the previous year's budget. So limit, the cap. What's the spending growth limit is, got you. Spending growth limit is 2% with automatic adjustments for healthcare enrollment. Thank you, Stephen. There are only two left, I think. So you can get, right, you get an automatic adjustment to the 2% growth limit for additional enrollment if you qualify, which the district did not, and for healthcare increases, which the district did qualify for. That's it. And that's a growth on the tax levy.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rivali. All right. And Stephen. All right. We getting close. Good of the order. All right. Jennifer?
Boy, do I. Just a lot of excellent news coming out of Pine Grove Manor. As always, they just finished their SEL Day. They were thrilled to have so many guest readers for Read Across America Day, including myself, of course, Vice President Ms. Inocencio, and of course, Mr. Grippo, who I believe hit every single school in the district, and I'm not sure he didn't circle around to do some twice. They also had a math and literacy night in which the students were able to actually take home kits with them of literacy and math materials so they could continue to practice at home. They had Career Day, which does not sound like the career day I had in school. The East Franklin Fire Department was there, the Franklin Township Police Department was there, and the New Jersey State Police Aviation Unit's helicopter landed there. I need to rethink my career trajectory. I think they might still take me. I also wanted to make sure that folks know that Saturday from 1 to 4 at the Sampson campus of the middle school, there'll be a presentation for our Franklin 250 celebration, Women Who Carried the Revolution, in keeping with the month being March. There'll be activities for folks of all ages. There'll be some living history demonstrations, some quill writing, and you can even practice your colonial dancing on Saturday and maybe bring that to the ball on Sunday. So yeah, that's for me.
Oh, that was excellent. They busy over there, huh? All right. Clara?
Well, Well, CES has a lot going on as well. I'm not going to say as much as Ms. Welsh, but we also had Read Across America at CES. And on April 30th, the CES Dance Club is performing at the Somerset Patriots game at 6:35, so buy your tickets today.
All right. Nick?
Okay, so first, congratulations again to Janet and Corey. Corey, I had the pleasure of working with you at the middle school, so I've watched you grow through the district. I mean, I'm sure Nabisha is gonna have a hard time finding someone to replace you, but she'll just have to make do. Congratulations. The Franklin High School is hosting a Women's History event on March 26th. They said they're expecting about 300 guests, and they're requesting donations for their gift bags. Franklin High School, kudos to Miss Martin. They hosted the book signing event from Matthew Rodriguez last month, and it was a great event. It was joined by the Franklin Township Police Department, some administrators. I know Dan Lagron was there, he stopped in to say hello. Actually, we were there for most of the event, yeah. But it was a great event that she put off. Connolly Road School scored a distinction of having a high growth and high achievement for mid-year iReady reading and math assessments, and this is their 7th testing period in a row that they've achieved this recognition. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy?
A couple things, if you'll just bear with me. One, Franklin Park, tremendous job with Read Across America. Bill, I think you were there right before me, by the way, so it went extremely well. They are continuing to do God's work over there, especially with the younger kids. I read to a class of kindergartners, so it was really good. What I wanted to do was also introduce the public to Mary McLeod Bethune, considering it is the end of Women's History Month, as well as we did have a preliminary budget conversation. Ms. Bethune, born to previously enslaved parents, she was a sharecropper, the 15th child, I believe, of 17. Was not able to learn to read or write. Actually went into previous slave owner's home, took a book, and was told that she could not read. Therefore, that inspired her to do so. She went on to be the first to be educated in her family, again, of 17. She also then went on with $1.50. I will say that again, $1.50, and I believe a rented room to begin to teach other Negro women at the time. With her resourcefulness, making desks out of crates, using charcoal for pencils, she, with time, consideration, using her resourcefulness and continuing to ask for donations and continuing to work with the community, developed what we call now Bethune-Cookman University. So that is who she is. She was also the founder of the National Council of Negro Women. She served as the education advisor for Franklin Roosevelt, and she was also a very, very avid philanthropist in giving back to women's causes. So Miss Mary McLeod Bethune. That's it.
Thank you. Maher?
So I participated in Read Across America, so I thank McAfee Road School and Claremont Elementary for inviting me. My goal is by next year, I want to be like Mr. Grippo, where every school in the district will invite me to Read Across America. What did you say? And then I also wanted to share what books I read because I found that very amusing. And if you haven't read them, please do. It was for second graders. Hi Cat, Caps for Sale, and Grumpy Monkey Play All Day. So the funnest and the funniest part was the questions and the thought processes from the second graders. So it was a lot of fun. Aiming to be Mr. Grippo.
Thank you. Lori?
Who's next?
Lori is next.
So forward-looking for the middle schools, the only thing really that it's more exciting than the upcoming spring break is that now spring sports tryouts are this week. So we've got not only track and field, but softball and baseball occurring at the Hamilton Street campus, all of those tryouts. And I know that the students are going to be really excited to get out in what we hope is going to be nice weather as we move later on in the week. So thanks very much.
Thank you. All right, Bill.
I know I said I'm not going to make any comments, and I'm not, but I've been over every inch of this district in the month of March. And DeMeglia will say that's because I'm retired, okay? That's his thing. But I tell you, the highlight of March for me, besides all the schools and all the people and every day something, was In the Heights.
Yeah.
In the Heights showed Franklin's true supremacy of student achievement on the stage. That was the highlight for me of all the things I've done. And to see so many of my alumni from McAfee Road School star in that show was just emotional. Emotional is the word. No comments.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, all right. Madam VP?
So I also participated in Read Across America. I read for the first time at PGM, and that was great. I was in a second grade ESL class, and they were so excited to learn that I spoke Spanish and I was Hispanic, and it happened to be Cultural Day that day. So a lot of the teachers and admins were dressed in their cultural garb or attire, and we went around the class, and each child got to tell me about where they were from, where their parents were from. It was really great. I also read at McAfee Road School, which I always do, and that was wonderful as well. Great program there. And again, I just want to echo the In the Heights production was just truly breathtaking. I'm always impressed with the caliber of just professionalism and just sheer talent of the students at the high school. And I also went to the middle school show as well. But the high school performance, I didn't know if they could top Chicago. That was my favorite one of the ones that I've been to so far. But this definitely surpassed it. I mean, this is like professional level stuff. It was really impressive. I enjoyed it so much I went back the next weekend, and my girls enjoyed it just as much as I did. And at this point, In the Heights is on repeat at the house as far as the soundtrack goes. So just kudos to Ms. Rad and the students. It was just wonderful.
All right, thank you. All right, before, I guess I need to send a shout out to Hillcrest in the sense of they also did Read Across America. And also some of their highlights they also did was Family Engagement Night, and they did Parenting Partners and a PACER visit. So those are some of the highlights that Hillcrest did. So as we about to close out Women's Month, thank you for sharing that information with us, Jimmy, and with all the ladies in the audience and here at the table. My hats go off to all for womanhood, because without you ladies, we wouldn't be here. And my honors and my humble and praise go out to you. But also I want to bring up also that as we start to get closer to the end of the school year, we are getting closer to the final chapter in Dr. Rivali here in the district. But this Sunday, we will be celebrating him. having a gala in his name at the Imperial.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I'm excited. You know, some folks may have on some Chucks, some may have on whatever, but some Chuck Taylors, some Converse for those who may need some help with those terminologies. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to, as we get closer, I guess everybody would give their praises and their show of appreciation for what this man has shouldered to get Franklin to where it is at now. But I'm not going to go on and on because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of words on Sunday and continuing on as we push on through the end of the school year. So with that said, we are adjourned.